Dear learners, welcome back to your educational channel Learn and Educate, where we were studying about the cost center, wherein cost center is a particular location, is a particular person or an item of equipment for which the costs are incurred on actual or notional basis and for which the costs are ascertained, controlled, accumulated. Why? It is accumulated for the purpose of controlling the cost, for the purpose of determining the costing, wherein it aims at collecting the information about the cost and what the activity actually taken place, so that when the job is complete the cost of completion can be known. And the cost center serves the function of controlling the cost to ensure exercise a proper control, the determination of a predetermined result, what are the outcomes, what are the targets of the performance which are laid in advance, in respect of each location, in respect of each person, in respect of each department or the operation, which relates to the individual, which relates to the action, and where controlling can be performed to measure the actual performance, wherein the actual cost of the performance, actual cost of the production which are incurred are identified with respect to our cost center, and they are actually measured, collected operation wise, and wherein it could be compared, then the investigate with respect to the actual and the standard, and helps that there is a ultimate reduction in the cost and maintaining the quality of the goods and services, wherein the cost center is classified on the basis of nature of expenses. Fixed cost. A fixed cost center refers to the all the expenses which are being incurred to stay the same regardless, which are same regardless of the how much number of units the organization produced. And wherein the variable cost center, it relates to the organizations, wherein the organization has incurred a particular expenses with respect to the purchase of product, with respect to the raw materials, and where the costing changes, the amount of expenditure changes, it depends on the volume of the production. Thus when the increase in the total number of production, there is an increase in the variable cost centers expenses, wherein, and in the case of fixed cost center, it is associated with the period. It the fixed cost center will remain constant irrespective of the level of production, and they are incurred, for example, with respect to the rent, insurance, factory rent. The examples are interest payment, and of rent of factory rent, payment of factory rent, payment of insurance premium. The fixed cost per unit can change with respect to production, but the amount in quantity, the quantum of the fixed cost center, the amount of the expenses with respect to the fixed cost center remains the same. They are also called as the capacity cost or period cost. Moreover, the expenses with related to the material cost of tangible physical product, cost of raw materials, consumable stores, maintenance of and consumable items, they are incurred with respect to the variable cost center. And the period fixed cost center, it depends upon the fixed, they are fixed, it depends upon the production. They are not dependent on the production, but they are dependent on with respect to the time. The fixed cost center are the cost which become the cost of production cost. The fixed cost center are not associated with the production, but they are related with the time. The expenses with respect to the period are incurred. For example, the general administrative cost, the salesman salary, the rent of the building. The expenses which are fixed in nature and changes according to the period of time. The variable cost center are variable in nature in terms of their nature and changes according to the number of units produced, and the cost which becomes part of the production are the variable cost center cost. Moreover, it helps in the cost control, wherein the 6 to attain the lowest possible cost under the existing conditions, and it is the function of the cost center for the purpose of controlling the cost and maintaining the performances, and the targets are set up with respect to the each fixed cost center and variable cost centers. Therefore, cost centers are associated with respect to the expenses or an item or location, and the expenses with respect to direct material, direct labor, and the direct expenses, which forms under the prime cost, which are directly related with the cost of production and becomes the part of production cost. They are associated with the level of activity. They are associated with the production are the variable cost centers, and the fixed cost centers, they are associated with the time, with the period.